Elon Musk ends role as special government employee, as we were talking about. Hell yeah.
Elon Musk's time is up, and in this video, Hasan Piker takes a couple of sharp pokes at him. I haven't done a Hasan video for a while. Hasan Piker, of course, big personality online here, very funny, very sharp, and I enjoy it. Why don't we watch it together? I'll have some thoughts, and then I want to know what you think in the comments.
It's now official. Elon Musk is leaving his role as a special government employee in the Trump administration, with a White House official confirming to me tonight that he is going to start the offboarding process this evening, which essentially includes paperwork. It's not totally clear what else. But we did see Musk post this on his own website saying, as my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time.
The black Avi is perfect. The black PFP is like, you know, he's going through it. Okay. God, DOGE was such a spectacular for every, like, I cannot think of an even dumber thing. DOGE might be even stupider than the tariffs, okay? And the tariffs are really stupid. The DOGE stuff was so idiotic in its execution. He cut federal programs. Turns out discretionary spending that was already allocated is not actually putting a dent in the deficit at all, which anyone could have told Elon Musk or any number of different people if they were to, you know, listen to reason. It was marginal cuts regardless. All they were able to do was basically lie about how much they were cutting. They didn't cut. They lied about everything. They found like a couple idiotic like US aid allocations that were like $8,000 to make people in Zimbabwe eat vegan or whatever, you know, which is nothing. It's like, I assume, you know, CIA agents basically trying to hide money for their own personal benefit in these like stupid programs. Okay. All the while they cut the National Weather Service. Okay. They cut the National Weather Service for no reason. They cut the Department of Energy, which handles the nuclear program, which handles the nukes, and then had to go back and be like, oh my God, we're so sorry. Can you please come back to work? Like vital services. They cut a bunch of vital services. Everyone got mad. Everybody was like, what the are you doing? DOGE is literally one of the most popular government initiatives in history. 73% of Americans say they support cutting government waste. Trump brought in the smartest man on earth to do it. The left destroyed Elon for it. The GOP won't vote on it. I can't believe this. Did my best. Sigh. It is so incredible. It is so incredible. They went in with a hatchet and cut a bunch of the last parts of the American government that actually works, that keep people alive, that keep people safe. And they did this in this haphazard manner in broad daylight. And the person that was supposed to communicate this initiative, I'm sorry, this is not ableism, the most autistic man on the planet. And on top of that, he's not even like cool autistic in the way where it's like, oh, he's brilliant. Like, you know, let the maestro do his thing. But also insanely repulsive on top of that, which is why he is not a very good communicator of anything. Like, he's just horrible at marketing in general. And everyone was like, what are you doing? The f are you doing? Stop doing these things. He just f it up so poorly, so bad. Amazing. It was spectacular. An incredible failure. Just a failure from start to finish, you know? He had to leave in disgrace after everybody was like, we hate you. You are the least popular figure in the administration. And again, I have to repeat this. They did not even accomplish, even marginally, one of the main goals, which was to cut government spending. They did not accomplish this at all. I need you to understand, half of the programs that they discontinued had already run out of funding. The discretionary spending that was allocated for those programs, they just shut off. And when you do that, you're not even cutting the deficit. It's already spent. The money is spent already.
I think people don't really fully understand how spectacularly pointless this whole DOGE thing was from an efficiency perspective, right? I mean, as Hasan Piker has just pointed out, it didn't do anywhere near what it set out to do.
So yeah, it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. I think it won't even be remembered as a failure. It just won't be remembered at all. In 25 years, you'll be reminded of it. You'll go, yeah, what the was that about? It didn't last long enough to leave any lasting, meaningful impact. Yeah, Because a lot of the stuff that they tried to cut from the federal regulatory agencies, the federal agencies in general, were so damaging and so disastrous and so consequential that they had to literally bring it back instantly. Elon was sent like a AI mass email to be like, oh yeah, you're getting fired if you don't respond instantly. And then the government will come out and be like, no, that's not what's happening. Sorry, he doesn't know what he's saying. We just brought him to work today. Sorry about that. All the value that Elon was able to cut, all the money that he was able to cut was from the Tesla valuation. That's it. The only thing he was able to burn was Tesla stocks in the process, because as the key man, he is associated with that brand, and he was inevitably going to have to pull out regardless, because now he was associated with this like incredibly unpopular policy that was trying to fire unceremoniously hundreds of thousands of federal workers in a country where there's like a 23% underemployment crisis, and these are the last real jobs that exist for the middle income Americans. What the were you thinking? Problem is, he wasn't. I guess the only thing he accomplished in the process was, like, at least for a moment, control over all of the regulatory agencies that were up his ass. Okay.
What do you make of Elon Musk officially leaving his role that he is tonight?
Well, it's a long goodbye, isn't it? I mean, he seems to be leaving and going out. He needs to work on his company. This was inevitable that he was not going to stay there very long. And it pushed along by the fact that his businesses are a bit in distress. And so he needs to pay attention and do his actual job.
Do you think he's actually leaving?
I think he's probably frustrated by the pace of government. And when he goes back to his companies, he says jump and they say how high. At the government, they don't do that. And I think he found a lot more difficulty in finding real cuts and everything else. And I think they're only sending $9 billion in DOGE.
Yeah, all of the Elon Glazers now turning on him. Fake friends, you know? Like, didn't Kara Swisher basically ride Elon into oblivion? Like, this was her job. So many people in mainstream media have made careers out of talking about how awesome Elon is, how he's like basically Tony Stark.
Elon Musk saying, it can be big or it can be beautiful, it can't be both, which he said with a laugh there, but I do think is a point that he actually probably believes. Were you surprised that Trump didn't have a stronger response to that?
No, because he was just saying, yeah, that's the way it goes here up in there. Like, I think he was acknowledging that this is how it happens, this is how the sausage is made. And I think Elon thought, because the way he runs his own companies, that he could just come in and trample everybody. And I think that was one of the problems. I think he bullied cabinet members. I think he ran over things. He took a lion's share of the attention, the whole chainsaw thing, which is
like Elon Musk's existence as the richest billionaire on the planet, the wealthiest billionaire on the planet, is fantastic in many ways. One, because it just directly cuts away at the lie of meritocracy, because he doesn't work hard nor smart. And I think a lot of Americans can recognize that. He is a perfect representation of the lie that is meritocracy in our process, in our system, in our distribution of wealth, in the economic organization of society. That's number one. Number two, Elon Musk and the ways in which he has been able to get his grimy little hands all over the federal regulatory agencies that are tasked with regulating his companies, okay, is, I think, a perfect opportunity to once again remind people how these things work in places like China. Think for a moment. A guy like Elon Musk behaving this way, leading to all of these federal agency workers getting fired from their jobs. Imagine what would happen in China. Imagine what would happen to an Elon Musk figure in China. That's all I'm saying. There would be some serious criminal prosecutions that would come after these kinds of actions. And I think that is something we should be moving towards. It would be fantastic. Can't remember who, but someone said right after Elon started DOGE, he just unknowingly bumbled into the role of the king's dumb advisor. The king executes when the peasants start getting mad. And I think that's been entirely vindicated. Yeah. No, I presented it as that as well. I said, like, Elon Musk is going to be the foil. He is going to be the inevitable fall guy, because Trump hates losers. And the moment that he falls out of favor, which he did, Donald Trump cut him out. He also does not have like the charisma to be able to navigate this space anyway.
I think Hasan Piker makes an excellent point here. The charisma is really important. I think, the progressive half of our government, the democratic half of our government, is focused on the message, right? What do the words that our politicians are saying mean? What's the meaning? What's the message there? And I think the other half of the government, certainly MAGA, is more focused on the messenger than the message, which is why when they elect Donald Trump, and things go bad, they're surprised. Donald Trump's been saying what he's going to do, right? But it's as though they didn't hear any of that. And it's because they are hypnotized by this, I suppose, charismatic. I don't find Trump charismatic, but there is a certain can't tear your eyes away from TV, telegenic, whatever. And I think that Elon Musk does not have that charisma. He's not an engaging, charming, charismatic messenger.
It would already be very difficult for anyone to be able to operate as the responsible figure for all of these insane cuts. But Elon is also repulsive. Like, he's gross. I don't know how else to explain it. He just has no aura. He's awful.
He did blame the media a bit, said the media is going to overrepresent any political stuff. He said, it's not like I left the companies. It was just relative time allocation that probably was a little too high on the government side.
Oh my God, he was tweeting every 5 minutes all about politics. Come on, he always blames other people. Look at his Twitter storm that he used to have all the time. Now he's tweeting about his businesses mostly, but he spent all his time in a look at me situation. Here I am in the front row of the inauguration. Here I am jumping up and down on a stage. Here I am
doing the Nazi salute. Kara, say it. I feel like we kind of just brushed past that far too quickly. I don't know why the media is not even entertaining that. That was a very consequential moment for a lot of Americans. I would go so far as to say that played a big role in resentment from a lot of Americans, and then that resentment carried over and snowballed into the additional resentment that they had with all the cuts that came afterwards, because they're all Nazi and don't give a dude. I know that there are Chatter's parents in here who even then, like, when he did that, they thought this is up. There's no way. I feel like that was a pivotal moment. That was a pivotal moment for a lot of people. I think you're discounting for the average people, like for the average boomers, I think you're discounting how much that image actually played a role in them going, nope. It's really dangerous to conflate that action with anti-Semitism. Yeah, Sig Heiling with anti-Semitism. Everybody knows anti-Semitism is when you say Israel does not represent all Jews and it's doing a genocide of primarily children. That's anti-Semitism, not when you Sig Heil.
He's still going to be a successful business person. One of his companies, Neuralink, just got a big funding. I wouldn't bet him out in the car business, although he has a much tougher road there. Obviously, Starlink has challenges, but it's doing really well. The space stuff is really interesting. I mean, if he devotes himself to that, he would be great. But this is going to be probably years from now seen as an alleyway he went down that just didn't work out quite as well for him.
Does it surprise you at all that this did not end in a massive blow up between Elon Musk and Trump that some people predicted might happen?
I don't know, TK, right? He starts by little criticisms, and I think I do tend to agree with him on the tariffs and free trade. Again, he can do math. Deficits are a real problem for this country, and here we have this big, beautiful bill that's going to raise them rather substantially, which is mortgaging.
Oh my God, yeah, that's the big problem with the big, beautiful bill, is that it actually raises the deficits, and not because it's a ginormous wealth reallocation to the top while causing the working poor to suffer even more. Oh my God. Ay, ay, ay. The Democrats and the liberals in media, what are we doing? This is literally a gift. This is a unique opportunity for every liberal to go on television and be like, they want to kill the working poor, but they don't want to say that. And the reason why they don't want to say that is because liberals also want to kill the working poor. Why don't you care about the deficit? Seems like a pretty big problem that we'll have to face eventually, because as long as America is the global currency, the global reserve currency, as long as America has 800 military bases, as long as America is the hegemonic superpower, it literally doesn't matter. Okay. And I'll tell you how it doesn't matter, because both Republicans and Democrats don't give a about the deficit when it comes to additional military spending. They only care about the deficit when it comes to the expanding of social safety nets. They don't care about the deficit when it comes to tax cuts for the wealthy. They don't care about the deficit when it comes to deregulation, or not even deregulation, but tax cuts for the wealthy, or expanding the military budget, endlessly expansive military budgets. All of those things also are expenditures. All of those things contribute to the deficit in very meaningful ways. It's bull. Here, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the greatest example. Okay. Aside from the fact that, America is the country that keeps this global capitalist economy running. Okay. Even if you were to look at it like a business, but it's not, even if the government was run like a business, you got to spend money to make money. Okay? Every business in this goddamn country runs on debt. So it's not a wonder that the United States also runs on debt. But it's not. The American government is not the same as like your budget for your family. And the American government certainly is not the same as your average business either. I take the reverse position that a lot of these guys have, which is they have no issues running up the deficit when it comes to tax cuts for the wealthy, that we should actually take more money out of circulation from the wealthy in particular. That's number one. And number two, instead of the endlessly expanding military budget, we should keep pumping more money into an endlessly expansive welfare state. Because no one, when push comes to shove, no one believes in the deficit. Republicans claim to be deficit hawks when Democrats are in charge because Democrats want to at least marginally sometimes expand the existing social safety nets. And then they're like, whoa, just going to expand the deficit. We can't do that. It's going to increase the deficit. I get that, but I feel like acting like it doesn't matter doesn't solve the problem. Yes, it does, because it's not a problem. It's not a real problem. And it's so not a real problem that nobody actually cares about it. That's my point. It's so not a real problem that both Democrats and Republicans forget about the deficit when it comes to, once again, endlessly expansive military budgets and also tax cuts for the wealthy. It is only used as a way to cut away at expanding social safety nets. That's the only time this ever gets brought up. There has never been a conversation about the deficit when it comes to military spending. Why? Is it because you might say, oh, well, that's just discretionary spending. Discretionary spending is expensive on the military side, but like the overwhelming majority of all of our expenditure goes to Medicare, Medicaid, and goes to Social Security. Sure, but that's necessary. The military is not. Once again, America's position as the hegemonic superpower relies on endless imperialism. Okay? Relies on 800 military bases. America also has a voluntary military. We do not have a draft in this country. How do you maintain a voluntary military? How do you maintain a voluntary military that is going to go to 800 different military bases that we know of all around the planet and continue being the global police? You do that through creating poverty, artificial poverty. Everyone wants upward social mobility. Everyone understands that the only way to reach upward social mobility is through getting a college education, okay? And the only way to get college education, or the only way to even get health care, is by joining the military. That is how you keep a massive military. That is the only way that you can maintain a massive voluntary army, rather than offer these social safety nets unconditionally to every single citizen. Because if you were to do that, who the would join the military? Who? No one. No one would do that.
One idea actually that I have heard floated that I thought was pretty interesting was focus and expand on the aspects of the military that aren't necessarily warmongering, because there are many aspects of the military that aren't. So you fundamentally change or shift the focus of military service. There's always going to be soldiering, but you know, the educational loans, there's the Army Corps of Engineers, right? I mean, the military can be leveraged for some of these national infrastructure projects that have been discussed. I think there are possibilities. Here I am at risk of starting to pontificate about something I really don't have any expertise in. Anyway, some of you may. What do you think? Do you agree with Hasan Piker's diagnosis of this situation, or do you have alternate viewpoints? Why don't you let me know in the comments?